Bernie Sanders, yes, he has lost Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio. The Ohio loss was very disappointing. It seemed to have come in very quickly, meaning that he lost by a lot. That was expected to be a little bit tighter than certainly what it appears to be now. On the other hand, let me give you a smidgen of hope. Not too much, okay? We don't want to be too liberal with our hope. Right now, Illinois has not been called yet, as we're doing this live. Missouri, he's up. He's up by what, 4 in Missouri?
He's up by 4 points about.
Okay. Now, he's down by 5 in Illinois, but he was down by 10. So here comes Bernie.
He's also improved in Ohio as well.
Improved in Ohio.
He just
irrelevant.
passed 54%.
Irrelevant. Because he's already lost.
It's still proportional, so the closer
proportional.
It's
proportional. It matters. The delegates matter. Okay. We have 9 states after tonight before we get to New York. New York is on the 19th. Now, the 2 largest states in the country have not voted yet, New York and California. I'm fairly sure that they're pretty liberal. That's what I get told every day on TV and by the conservatives, right? So now, in the polling there, Bernie Sanders is close to Hillary Clinton. That's why tonight mattered a lot. If he had had more momentum from tonight, perhaps it could have made a difference. On the other hand, the 9 states that are coming up appear to be far more pro-Bernie Sanders than Hillary Clinton. There's 9 contests actually coming up. Not all of them are states. There are a couple of big states in there, Arizona, Washington, but a lot of smaller ones too. So, could it make a difference if he were to pull out Illinois and Missouri tonight? Now, that's a big if because he's down in Illinois, right? And if he were to go on to win 9 in a row, would that make enough of a difference for him to win New York and to start to win states large enough to make up the delegate lead? And the answer to that is maybe. Maybe. That's why it's a smidgen of hope. If he loses Illinois tonight, that's not good news. And then those 9 states become less clear. If they were more likely to go in Bernie Sanders' direction before, after all the media will weigh in, drop out, it's hopeless, it's over, what's he doing? Well, I can't believe he's doing this. He's hurting the Democrats' chances by continuing to attack Hillary Clinton. He might not win all those 9 states, right? But if you were to pull out Illinois, Missouri, and win 9 states in a row, well, okay, then at least you'd have some chance. Losing Ohio was not good, okay? But if he loses Illinois, it will not be good.
Yeah.
And but overall, there is still some hope left, and he's got plenty of money. The reason most people drop out is because they have no money to back them up. So no prayer of winning further states because they won't have any ground troops. They won't have any organization. I was just in Austin, Texas, and even though they lost Texas, there were volunteers there on a Sunday night still working for them, making phone calls in different states, still organizing, making sure they get their delegates in order. So if anyone could make a comeback, given the amount of money he has, given the states ahead, it would be Bernie Sanders. But it is a fair question as to whether anybody could make a comeback under these circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, the depressing thing is that it's not that he's lost Ohio. Like I've been saying this whole time, the losing and the winning is great for momentum or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's about the delegates. It wasn't that we were like, I think he could win Ohio by 1 point and then he's in it. He needed to significantly beat the polls. Right now he's down by 15 points. It might improve, which is about where the polls were at. And he's down in Illinois by something like 5 points. He's up very marginally in Missouri, which is basically what the polls said. And we were predicting that Michigan could have been a harbinger for the fact that those sorts of states' polls were significantly off. And so far they haven't been. He didn't do much better in Florida. He might have done worse than the polling indicated in Florida. Mm-hmm. And he's doing about where you would expect in all of the other states. And North Carolina didn't do well. Now there's some good information. Apparently in Illinois, Missouri, Ohio, he had a significantly higher share of the African-American vote, something like 30% in most of those states. And so it does seem like it's not just that he does poorly amongst African Americans, but in the deep South he does really poorly. But at the end of the day, if he had won Illinois and Missouri and Ohio, that would have been a good sign, a necessary sign for him to come back and win. But it wouldn't be like, there he did it. He still needs to start winning states by as big as he's lost other similar sized states. So that's why like he's catching up at Missouri, which is great. Missouri's also like half the size of Ohio, so it matters half as much. And it could be that there is still time for the polls to massively change and for this next run of states to not just win them. He can't just win them. He has to win significantly to get the delegates. He could win every single state from here on out by one vote, and he would lose a ton by delegates. He has to win significantly. And this was supposed to be the night that would start that process significantly. Well, Michigan, I guess, would have been the start. And it could still happen. There are a number of reasons it could still happen. But it's harder to imagine how now.
Now, and I want you guys to understand, John's not counting superdelegates. We never count superdelegates here because they can switch at the end.
I'm assuming that every one of them will switch if he starts to get up.
That's right.
Or if he ends up.
Just unpledged delegates is what John is talking about there. So the math at this point does not look good. If he was going to turn it around, Michigan was a good start. Tonight would have had to be the second step. And yes, it's unfair, boo-hoo to Bernie Sanders and his supporters, including us, that the South went first. And if pro-Bernie states had gone first, he would have had so much more momentum. If spring break hadn't taken out of 500,000 students in these states, including Ohio, Florida, et cetera, maybe it's a little different. Boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Well, that's not what happened. So we got to deal with the realities. And so if he's going to turn it around, he has to turn it around immediately. And losing Ohio tonight was not a good sign of that. And so if we've got hope left, and it appears Bernie Sanders did, because he did a vigorous speech afterwards.
Yeah.
He gave no quarter whatsoever, still attacking Hillary Clinton, still talking about Goldman Sachs, and still on the warpath. So he has hope, and you guys have given him hope if you donated to him, because that allows him to have the war chest to continue. But we also have to be realistic and acknowledge that that hope is waning now, okay? But it still exists. Okay, Jimmy, thoughts?
Don't freak out. Don't freak out. It favors Bernie going for, hey, anything for, I don't want to speak negatively. I don't want to do what the Clintons did to Barack Obama when they brought up Bobby Kennedy, but she could be indicted. You know, who knows what's happening with the FBI? So I think he stays in. A scandal could pop its head at any moment with Hillary Clinton because, believe me, there's a ton of them. Believe me, she traded Clinton Foundation cash for favors and things like that. And, you know, I mean, I say he stays in. I say he stays in.
He should, of course.
And
it's just harder.
And not that I'm hoping for a scandal or what have you, but I wouldn't publicly say that.
Okay.
So that's like when Donald Trump says, "I'm not going to insult that little wuss." That's what you just.
So
did.
And he could overwhelm. God damn it.
Okay, that's Jimmy's version of being realistic. Okay, but it is true that he very, very likely will stay in till New York. That's April 19th. Now, if he loses New York, it is definitively 100% over. Okay,
because you're running out of big
you
states.
don't have enough states left.
You need to win 100% in California.
Yeah, we're liberals. We believe in math.
Yeah.
Right. So that math will be clear by New York.
Yeah.
Again, if he turns Illinois around, wins Illinois tonight, then all of a sudden he won Illinois and Missouri. Yeah. If he goes on a big winning streak and then wins New York, well, okay, that's your hope.